pressure from one side.
The Big 12 opener comes down to this play. Sanders gets the feet set toward the end zone for the game. It is caught by Worcester, just like 1994.
In part 1, we left off at the end of week 4 with this unbelievable finish in the game between Colorado and Baylor, and the opener of week 5 gave us no rest. Miami was now ranked number 7 in the country, but had a tough test at home on Friday night against Kyron Drones and the Virginia Tech Hokies. Miami scored 2 touchdowns in the first quarter, but a 17-point second quarter from the Hokies had the Hurricanes trailing at the half.
Quick throw, Gosnell the catch, turns it upfield. First. Why not? 2 for 2 from 50 plus for John. Ward, downfield, tapped, and picked. Spencer off the deflection. Spencer's got a convoy. Arroyo finally chased him down from 27. A try to fake. Harrison St. Germain tackled, and Miami takes over. Ward steps up, tucks, runs, touchdown Miami. To the next guy. Here's the blitz. Drone stands in, completes. Lane giving Tech a red zone jam. Miami brings pressure. Drones retreating. Heaves it into the end zone. Caught. Aiden Green for the touchdown. Blitz off the edge. Ward steps up. Room to run. Inside the 10. And bump from behind. Second and goal. Ward back in the end zone. Caught for a touchdown. College football's Methuselah. The 9th-year senior, Cam McCormick. Here's the blitz. Pass is tipped. Incomplete. Comes the pressure. Ward gets rid of it somehow. Restrepo on his backside. Edge pressure. Ward ducks away. Spencer had him. Ward flips it to Williams. How do you like this? Down the sideline. Pushed out inside the 5. Ward to a wide open Horton, and Miami takes the lead. Drones steps up. Deep downfield. Green was out of bounds.
So it came down to this, a Hail Mary to try and win the game.
Comes down to this. Drones lets it fly. They're sorting through the carnage. I like that! Virginia Tech, they roll it a touchdown on the game's final play.
The play went to video review, but there was no clear angle to show that the ruling on the field was definitively incorrect, so it seemed the Hokies had just pulled off yet another 2024 upset.
After further review, the ruling on the field is reversed. It's an incomplete pass.
Tech fans were up in arms, and rightfully so.
Man, y'all know y'all cheating, man. Y'all just want Miami to win because they the higher ranked team. Y'all know good T-Rail. He came down with that ball in that Hail Mary. He caught it. Virginia Tech should have won the game. Y'all here cheating.
Personally, this is one of the worst calls I've ever seen in a college football game, and unfortunately, it ended up killing any momentum Virginia Tech had for the rest of the season. But getting back on schedule, here's a look at the AP poll for Week 5, with the notable changes being Missouri, Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, and Kansas State suffering considerable drops, Northern Illinois and Nebraska falling completely out of the rankings, and Boise State and BYU making their first appearances in the top 25 for this season. The top 4 remained unchanged, and there was an upcoming battle between 2 of those teams that everyone was watching.
Dynasty. For a generation, Alabama defines excellence. But Dynasty invites challengers. And Georgia hasn't just challenged, they've been champions. This rivalry has been defined by exceptional accomplishment. The Dogs and the Tide typically reserved for title tilts. But a September showdown looms on a Saturday when conference play cranks up. And these heavyweights are the marquee event, standing across the ring where legends are made. It's all so familiar, except everything's new. A new man leads the Tide, but the question is, as they say in the fight song here, can Alabama again go teach the Bulldogs to behave? Say the 2 names, Georgia, Alabama. The stakes, the moments, it's defined nearly a decade of college football. National championship game for the 2017 season. It's 2nd and 26 in overtime. Tua Tagovailoa, Devontae Smith, the Crimson Tide, and Nick Saban win the national championship. Tua came off the bench then. A year later in the SEC championship game, tables turned. It's Jalen Hurts off the bench into the end zone. And the Tide takes another SEC crown right out of the mouths of the Dogs. 2021, the SEC championship, Bama big underdog. But Bryce Young to Jamison Williams, an SEC record day for Bryce Young. J-Mo scores and the Tide wins. But finally, in the rematch a few weeks later, the Dogs had their day. Stetson Bennett, Brock Bowers into the end zone, and as Alabama tried to rally behind Bryce Young, it was Keely Ringo.
79 yards.
The pick 6 for the ages, and the Dogs broke a 41-year national title drought. Kirby giving that trophy some sugar. And last year, when you thought Alabama was overmatched, Dogs going for a three-peat. It was Jalen Milroe fighting Jermaine Burton, the former Dog, and Nick Saban won another championship, the 30th SEC championship for the Crimson Tide. And since Alabama won its first national title under Saban in 2009, look at what these two programs have accomplished.
And to your point, the GOAT, this is a December-January game happening here in September, and there's no state in this United States that should be hosting a game of this magnitude. Give me Alabama to be the ones, and it's a palpable feeling here from the Strip to the Quad, and a prophet from Alabama once said, I don't give a piss about nothing but the tie. And you can feel it because
I have picked Alabama and put the head on 37 times.
Woo. Wow.
That's a record. Alabama's got a quarterback, Milroe, when he has accounted for 14 touchdowns this first 3 games. Mm-hmm. 8 of them passing, 6 of them running. You've seen him highlighted the whole week. Roll Tide, roll.
We did it. We all picked the same side. Okay.
No pick from Herb Street. Nobody to save the graphic. Alabama across the board. Will Georgia have the final word? You can see it on ABC tonight. Extensive pregame coverage. Great morning in Tuscaloosa. Enjoy your college football Saturday.
Woodring moves it high, but it's returnable. Law from the 5. Gets a crease, and Kendrick Law falls forward out to the 3.
Being able to pull that and keep it himself later.
Now a downfield shot looking for Henderson, coming back and making the catch. Milroe Around left end. Touchdown, Alabama. What an opening drive as they overcome their mistakes. Back from the pocket. Another downfield shot on the near sidelines is incomplete. Yard gain. They spotted at the 39. Milroe from the pocket. Surveys and finds across the middle. Williams makes a man miss. On near side. Milroe looking for him on a wheel route on a dime. The Tide. Tide showing pressure, and they bring it. Ball out quickly. It is intercepted. Picked off by Damani Jackson, the transfer from USC. So Milroe's left. Bernard comes in motion, gets the football, gets a block on the edge, turns the corner, touchdown Tide. A half yard here on fourth. Milroe keeper. First down and more. Tide running down the sideline. Touchdown. Unbelievable start for Milroe in this offense. Good protection. Throws into a seam and a catch is made. Jahad Campbell delivers. ETN into the end zone and Georgia on the board. A desperately needed answer to all the haymakers the Tide of the Dogs give their offense the football back on fourth down. Handoff. Miller stops. Miller jammed up the line of scrimmage as Dan Jackson filled and the Dogs. Three-man rush. Beck surveys, throws it right to Alabama. It's picked up by Jahad Campbell. A disastrous turnover just when the Dogs had momentum. The second for Beck tonight. Second and 11. All kinds of time. A dart over the middle. It's bobbled and intercepted. Picked off. On tape anywhere. Invented for this game. Heavy pressure. Beck up his back foot. Just heaves it to green grass. It's what it's going to be. With the call.
Is a safety.
There. Short throw. Catch made on the edge and breaking a tackle is Lovett, who's off and running. Lovett in the red zone. Right down the middle, high throw, touchdown. Arian Smith. And the Dogs still have life on the move. Flips it back across his body and on the back line. Lawson Lucky, the tight end, catches the conversion.
Defense just sitting nicely, the freshman.
And now the freshman goes down the middle. Williams bobbled and caught. And the incredible start for this prodigy continues. He made field goal attempt at Alabama. Missed one in the opener and just sneaks it inside that right upright. Staying alive here in this game with these fourth down conversions. On first down, Beck loses the football. They knock it out of his hands, and Latham makes the recovery. Rusa knocked it loose. Another turnover for Beck. Play clock down. Snap it at 7. Heavy pressure. Ball is out. Justice Haynes will be stopped. 20-yard gain, playing with tempo. Beck another long throw and a catch made. And fighting down near the goal line. Beck again across the middle. Bobble caught, touchdown. Lawson Lucky. Batted away. Put it off to the left. From the pocket, hits, he throws. It's broken up.
Second half.
Who can give you explosive plays? Cass Jones comes up with a 30-yarder. Beck pressing the ball downfield under coverage again. Caught! Arian Smith at the 1-yard line. ETN is the back. End around. Bell breaks into the end zone. Georgia very much alive. And they're showing pressure. They bring it. And Milroe on the move. Makes the catch. Justice Haynes doesn't quite get there. You don't need to play urgently here. But he's looking to throw that downfield. Has a man wide open. Dylan Bell's got it. A foot race. Spins, spray, and scores. Can you believe it? Georgia has the lead. Georgia. Back takes off and will not get there. Stretches, but got of calm and command from Miller at the start of this game. He's got to have it right now. And they take a downfield shot. And the catch is made. It's Ryan Williams. Still spinning free. Touchdown Alabama. They answer in one play. 75 yards for the 17-year-old. Are you kidding us? This to make the lead 6, 7 actually. Low goes down and grabs it. Jeremy Bernard. Back. Launches for the end zone. Jump ball. Intercepted. And Xavier Brown, the freshman, makes a game-saving play for Alabama.
The Crimson Tide had solidified themselves as a powerhouse, and despite Texas picking up a win, Alabama ended up being thrust to the #1 spot for Week 6. Somehow, the upsets weren't done yet though. 4 more ranked teams were upset and several more suffered scares. Number 12 Michigan fended off an unranked Minnesota team by just 3 points, and Oklahoma, BYU, and Texas A&M beat their unranked opponents by less than 7 points each. Even among the unranked versus unranked matchups, there were serious shifts in the landscape. Northern Illinois lost again, this time to NC State, and Buffalo, the team that had knocked Northern Illinois out of the top 25 the week prior, got manhandled by UConn. Kansas continued their slide as they fell to TCU, Duke held off North Carolina by just 1 point to remain undefeated, Colorado dominated UCF as Travis Hunter had a Heisman moment, and SMU stomped Florida State as the Seminoles remained the laughingstock of the nation in one of the biggest falls from grace we had ever seen. Additionally, Kennesaw State was struggling mightily in its first 4 games as an FBS program, having now lost to an FCS opponent in UT Martin, who was just 1-3 coming into the contest.
You know it! You tell the story! You tell the whole damn world! This is bad territory! You know it! You tell the story! You tell the whole damn world! This is bad territory! You know it! You tell the story! You tell the whole damn world! This is bad territory!
The chant calls them. Before the sun shows its face on the Pacific Coast, the Cowgorhythm woke up these sturdy Golden Bears. Tectonic plates of conference realignment shifting the far left coast to the Atlantic coast and Cal's first ACC home game against number 8 Miami. But you know what they say around here? We live in the weird. Then again, the whole sport lives in the weird. It's a hangover Saturday for some, conference races heat up. But October's here. This is when we find out who's real and who's just a burner account. And that doesn't seem to be the only thing that's been burning here in Berkeley this morning. But let's get weird and show the whole damn world this is bear territory. About this trip to Berkeley here, huh?
And what I found out quickly is we are in the middle of midterms right now. We got engineers, we got doctors, we got economists. We got real tests that have real implications happening. And all of these sons of bitches said, give me college game day. Yeah, I'll tell you, everything in my football brain says that Cam Ward is averaging like 385 yards a game. He's got 20 touchdowns. They got 5 wide receivers averaging more than 40 yards a game. Damian Martinez, a running back, they're up over 200 yards a game rushing. They just bounced back from the Virginia Tech game. Was that a wake-up call? Maybe they played their best game ever. I don't care. You know it. You tell the story. You tell the whole damn world. This is bad territory. I'm caught up in it. I'm caught up in the Berkeley.
Show love to the home team.
It might be the air.
Show love to the home team.
It might be Marshawn. It might be
Yes,
Aaron Rodgers.
Lord.
Give me Cal to beat Miami.
Week 6 got underway with a new #1 team in Alabama. The Tide were in their first season without Nick Saban at the helm, arguably the greatest college coach of all time. And because of that, lots of doubt and criticism had been levied towards them to this point, with the general consensus being that new head coach Kalen DeBoer wasn't going to take them to the same heights. But behind star quarterback Jalen Milroe and a 17-year-old standout wide receiver Ryan Williams, this team seemed bound for a national championship as one of the few teams that hadn't really shown any flaws yet. But there was one man who had something to say about that. Let me introduce you to Diego Pavia. The starting quarterback of the Vanderbilt Commodores had transferred there from New Mexico State in the offseason, where he'd originally been recruited as a zero-star recruit out of high school. Despite his team's 2 straight losses, he was ready to give everything he had against the top team in the nation, and that is exactly what he did.
Run heavy early on and now to throw. Pavia hangs a U-turn in the backfield, wants to go deep, and he floats it down the sideline for a first down to Stowers. Alexander got a blocker in front of him off the left side, lowers his shoulder, and powers to the goal line. He's in, and Vandy draws first blood. Some mustard on that snap. Milroe near side, batted up, and it is intercepted. Fontenette to the corner. He's in, and Vandy's got a 2-score lead on a 28-yard interception return by Randon Fontenette. And now helping raise his 3 sisters. Milroe over the middle finds C.J. Dupree. He's got a lot of green, and he takes it into Vandy territory. Second and goal. A hole on the left side, and a step through for Jan Miller, and Alabama's on the board on an 8-yard touchdown run. The 4-down territory, as you heard him mention, they don't need all 8. Pavia takes it himself and got hog-tied as he picked up the first down, and they're going to add some penalty yards to that as Jihad Campbell got him on the face mask. Out of this formation against Missouri 2 weeks ago. They'll run it, and another stretch, and this one's good enough. Cedric Alexander with the touchdown plunge from a yard out. And Vandy strikes again. Using personnel and formations. Pavia gets hit in the backfield but escapes. Good blocking on the edge. And Diego Pavia takes another shot as he carries it across the sideline for a first down. Taylor's got the distance and he splits the uprights. Vanderbilt leads Alabama. Milroe hands it off. There's a huge hole. Jam Miller down the sideline and forced out of bounds inside the 5. And Miller's got plenty of space, and he's got a touchdown run, his second of the game. Here's 2nd and 3. Milroe, a shuffle in the backfield, and that is on time to Robbie Oots. Promoting your own show. Are you paying advertising rates today? Here's Milroe. Perfect through the air on this drive, and now on the ground, he's in. Touchdown, Jalen Milroe. The shotgun. They're 2 of 3 on 4th down this year. Pavia wants to throw. He goes down the middle. It is caught. Touchdown, Vanderbilt and Junior Sherrill. Justice Haynes is the running back on this one. Milroe looking deep. Down the sideline. It is caught by Williams. He springs free. And he is in for an Alabama touchdown. A 58-yard catch and run for the emerging superstar. Bama brings only 4. Nearly another hold. Pavia takes off down the sideline and gets tackled from behind. His shoulders here. And he absolutely drills it.
These 3 hung out together growing up. He was always the youngest and the smallest.
Milroe directing, and he gets drilled. Lots of football. Jalen Milroe gives it up. Miles Capers delivered the hit. They say Vanderbilt football. Got Alexander next to him. Little replay. Pavia throws. Touchdown, Vanderbilt. Kadron Johnson with Milroe building his confidence and throwing in rhythm. Forced out of rhythm here, has to run, unloads deep. 2 men there, it is. Caught at the sideline. Journey Bernard. And 1. Game on the line for Alabama late. They reverse it out of there looking for the corner, and it is Brian Williams into the end zone. Pavia keeps it. Pavia picks up the first down. and the unlikeliest of heroes has guided Vanderbilt to what will be its first ever win against number 1. And what an investment they've made in Diego Pavia, this attitude, this program, and the biggest win on the West End. Vanderbilt takes down number 1 Alabama.
Vanderbilt had just pulled off the latest of 2024's all-time upsets, and everything we thought we knew about Alabama had just come crashing down. Here's a quick look at the rest of the top 25 so we can set the stage for the rest of the week. Let's quickly backtrack to the night before this Alabama upset to check in on the newest addition to the top 25, the undefeated UNLV Rebels. They were tasked with facing a very tough Syracuse team who already had that top 25 upset under their belts. There was just one problem though. Matthew Sluka, the Rebels' star quarterback that I mentioned earlier, had just entered the transfer portal 3 games into the season. As insane as that sounds, a dispute with the school over his NIL deal caused him to bail on the team and leave the now-ranked Rebels to switch to backup quarterback Hajj-Malik Williams less than a week prior to this matchup. Needless to say, they struggled. Back to our Saturday slate though, 2024's upset fever was still running wild.
Michigan trying to get a playoff, and they won't. Game's over. Washington avenges the loss in the national championship, and here come the fans. 27-17, your final at Husky Stadium.
Ball needs to be out. No timeouts for the Trojans. Moss to the end zone, intercepted. Coy Parrish. What a party here in Minneapolis.
A one-score game on the side of SMU at the current moment.
Keyshawn Smith across the 50-yard line picks up a first down.
To really lining up and trying to play the physical game. It's fun to watch. It's fun to see some new people kind of rise up and jump on the national scene.
There was still one more upset though that was one of the most shocking of the year. Number 4 Tennessee was set to face unranked Arkansas on the road, but this wasn't expected to be an issue. To this point, Tennessee was viewed as the offensive juggernaut of the season, defeating their first 4 opponents by a combined score of 216-28. They were viewed as one of the new favorites of the SEC after Bama's loss. But that expectation only lasted a couple of hours.
Andy, no problem, and it comes back to get you.
Playing with tempo on 3rd and 9, right down the seam. The catch is made by Isaac Satania, and the Hogs threatening early here. Kept the ball almost 9 minutes and jump on top. So Tennessee behind of the scoreboard. Shots after making catches. Impressive toughness. Jackson, speaking of toughness, is loose. And Jaquindon Jackson down inside the 30 before Christian Charles got him down. 22 more. From 44. Drives it and missed it. Yamaliaba looking to the left for those 3 receivers where has a lot of space to the right. He can run for it, but pitches it incomplete on the far side. Flags are out. Brazel was the receiver. Nico had all kinds of grass in front of him there. Some players with a hand in the dirt on this 3rd down. They try to run for it and breaking free. Dylan Sampson in a foot race. Drag down inside the 5. With a chance to give Sampson a breather. 2 tight end look. They hand it to him right up the middle. Dylan Sampson, touchdown Tennessee. Pocket holds up pretty well. Niamaliaba delivers a strike to Chaz Nimrod. Arkansas barely lined up, and Sampson bursts and falls into the end zone for a 2nd touchdown tonight. And Tennessee stretches the lead, and momentum wearing orange and white right now.
In the red zone, they got 3 points.
Second down throw. This is for Armstrong that goes down and makes a nice catch. Biggles to see the football again. First down carry, and it's a touchdown for Arkansas. What a response by this offense in marching 75 yards in 8 plays to cut into this lead.
Get that ball thrown quickly, and he does.
And now launching down the other sideline. Looping throw, catch made. There are flags down. Armstrong made the catch. No problem. Back to the ground with Braylon Russell, who's got a crease. Big fella, pumping into the secondary, and the freshman knocked down at the 20. Hand off inside, Russell. No, on the outside, touchdown. Singleton keeps it and scores. Malachi Singleton off the bench has put Arkansas in front from 11 yards.
I think that was the plan on that sideline for Tennessee.
But you wouldn't need a touchdown to take the lead. Now they will. A little shovel pass inside, and Sategna's stopped. So the margin is still 5. Play quick, but don't hurry. On 3rd and 2, looking to throw for plenty of time. Now the pocket collapses. He eludes Jackson and fires way downfield, and the catch is made by Thornton at the 25. What a play! Yamaliava, this is going to be the last play of the game. Scrambles and is shoved out of bounds. No time left. Arkansas pulls the upset.
If you're someone who gambles on college football games, I can only imagine the stress ride this season was giving you. Top-ranked teams were dropping like flies without any rhyme or reason, it seemed. It felt impossible to know who was actually a good team and who were complete pretenders. The number 8 team in the country, Miami, almost suffered the same fate in the nightcap, having to complete one of the greatest comebacks of all time to beat unranked Cal, a team that even Florida State was able to handle. Usually, the halfway point in the season is when you begin to figure these things out. By this point, the top few teams had usually set themselves apart, and while the likes of Ohio State, Georgia, and Texas had somewhat accomplished that to this point, they had all shown exploitable weaknesses that seemed like more future upsets waiting to happen.
They're awaiting the sun in Eugene, but it is never too early to put the pedal to the floor as the Duck rolls in, ready to march into the teeth of Oregon's Big Ten era. This is a showcase for the very best of realignment. Number 3 Oregon, number 2 Ohio State, Ducks and Bucks. They've met on the grandest stages. They played for national championships. They played in Rose Bowls. But today is different. Conference foes, rivalries renewed from the Red River to the Bayou to Rocky Top, and maybe a new one starts here. All of these people, they'll make their traditional walk to Austin. They'll sing "I Left My Heart in Oregon," and it'll feel so familiar. But this is unlike any game. They've never had one like this in Eugene. But when the visitors arrive, they'll be ready to fight that team across the field and show them Ohio's here.
But say, hey! 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 You make me wanna jump, put my hands up and pick my heels up and Oregon now. Come on, Kyle. $100,000 in Oregon. Oh, yeah! Wow.
That's great.
This thing is getting expensive, Reese, but it's
slightly less doofy.
That's good. That's good.
Yes,
We're getting there.
It's good. Guys, this is my college. That's right. This is my place. I love it here. I went to college here. My family went to college here. I lost my virginity here. I'm sorry about that, Dad. My ID was taken away. My fake ID was taken away at Rennie's. Oregon Ducks all the way. Oregon Ducks all day long.
Yeah, That's 3 Oregon, 2 Ohio State. Ought to be a good one. It's a game perhaps worth taking your shirt off over. What a morning here. Off goes the shirt. Away from the oafiness and in to the physique. Look at him go. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your college football Saturday.
To open the week, Cam Rising was back leading the number 16 Utes against Arizona State. While ASU had really surpassed all expectations to this point with a 4-1 record, there really wasn't a ton of concern for Utah fans as they had their star quarterback back and were viewed as one of the top dogs in the Big 12. But then, something was clearly off. Rising was simply not the same, and the Sun Devils had a star on their hands in Cam Skattebo, whose 158-yard performance had just put an exclamation point on the upset win. Taking a look at the rankings before we get into the Saturday slate, we had a new number 1 team in Texas. They had reclaimed the top spot with Alabama only falling 6 places despite their loss to Vanderbilt. Tennessee was also not penalized heavily for their loss, only slipping 4 spots. Clemson had now rejoined the top 10 as they'd piled up 4 straight wins since the Georgia game, and Iowa State's hot start had continued as they stood a perfect 5-0 and had climbed 5 spots to number 11. Texas A&M were the biggest climbers of the week, moving up 10 places after their win over Missouri, who were now ranked down at number 21. Michigan suffered the biggest fall of the week as their loss to Washington sent them tumbling 14 spots. And finally, the new entries in the rankings were Pittsburgh, who was still surprisingly undefeated at this point, and SMU, who just pulled the upset over Louisville. The Cardinals, along with USC and UNLV, fell out of the top 25 this week. Week 7 was loaded with high-caliber matchups, so let's take a look around the country to see what transpired.
1 yards after that, 20-yard gain. Ewers will run it in. Takes a shot on the end zone, but builds the lead. And Texas getting some sweet payback today. Last play, no shot. Airmailed way out of the end zone, and that's it. Texas, slow start, strong statement after that. 34 unanswered as they clobber the Sooners.
From 45 again in overtime. And it's wide left. He missed it. 36 yards for a Nittany Lion win. Got it. Penn State in overtime.
And Buren rolls, throws, end zone, touchdown. Kelly Akari for a career-high 459 yards, and Georgia at a season-high 609 yards. 41-31.
Milroe back to pass. To the end zone he goes. Intercepted! O'Donnell Fortune with the pickoff in the end zone. South Carolina's got everything working. Sellers, is there some magic in his arm? Intercepted. Damani Jackson, who left the game injured, came back and is going to put an end to it right here. And if you're Florida, move him. Over the middle towards the end zone. He's got his man DK for a touchdown. From 3rd and 18. Sampson. Send Williams out as a receiver. Garrett Nussmeier to the end zone. Touchdown! Aaron Anderson. Lacey, the motion man. Pump fake. Nussmeier goes back shoulder. Touchdown! Kyron Lacey, and LSU wins. No Travis Hunter in on defense. Giddens. Man, that must be jelly because Jam doesn't shake like that. What a move. He left a defender defenseless. Giddens in the backfield. The play fake. One-on-one down the sidelines. Caught! Flag! Touchdown! Brown! doing it for the Cats. Cardwell, the third running back, is in. Maybe the fourth running back. Mendoza, little misdirection, and he throws and hits Andrews. Touchdown. Another one for the tight end. Ball snapped. Mendoza steps up and he throws. It's going to be tackled short. Starling with the catch, but Rashad Battle with the open field tackle. Brown looking for Maccabee. Touchdown, Purdue! And it's going to come pretty quick. Altmaier to the end zone. Did he? He did! Touchdown, Pat Bryant! So Carolina, nearly blocked it. Low line drive punt. And Huzzy a big return. He's across the 40, the 35, the 30. He will race to the end zone. No penalty flags. Touchdown, Carolina. Second down and goal. And into the end zone it is. A touchdown, and that's Jamal Haynes. He was able to drag a Carolina defender with him.
Down. It's now 3rd and 6. Pressure. Calandria has a man wide open. It's Brown. Still on his feet. Can Fields get him a block? He does, and Brown scores. Dwayne Martin, the tight end. Now 2 tights in the backfield. Shuck is going to roll it and throw to the end zone. Touchdown, Jamari Johnson.
They can get a first down here without getting in the end zone. But Bazelak wants the end zone. Oh, what a route and what a catch from you-know-who, Harold Bannon Jr.
2s versus 2s, so rarely are they on the field at the same time.
Coastal keep it. They know he can run it. And that's pure talent and skill on display there. Just staying in bounds. The former track star in high school waltzes his way in for the touchdown. And NIU is back on top.
Vandegrift to the near side. That's caught by Dane Key. And then the ball's lost. And Vanderbilt pounces on it. Commodores think they have a takeaway. They do indeed, as ruled on. It's on 3rd down. Bobby on the rollout. Fires. Caught to the pylon and in. Touchdown, Richie Hoskins. 18-yard strike, Hoskins.
TV guy.
Man, it's fun. Here is a play fake by McCourt. Pressure coming, taking the deep shot downfield, and it is caught. Touchdown for the Orange. I believe, yes, touchdown.
Mari Hatcher.
Yep. Snap to Bailey. Orange bring a 4th man in the pressure. And deflected off the intended receiver and intercepted by Barron. Down the far side, and Barron taken out of bounds in NC State territory.
But the game everyone had their eyes on was number 2 Ohio State on the road against number 3 Oregon. This almost felt like the national championship in the middle of the season. As I mentioned, these were 2 teams who'd shown the least amount of flaws to this point, Ohio State especially. Well, let's see how it turned out.
Time to get him involved as well.
Judkins the back, Howard to the air, over the middle, and it is fought for. Ripped away by Oregon, but they're going to call that a first down.
In this game.
Howard keeps. Howard scores. Touchdown, Ohio State. What a start for the Buckeyes.
To make the play on the ball.
Now to short field. Dylan Gabriel has loved the complimentary football they're playing, and it helps when you've got this guy, Jordan James, running over defenders. 1st and goal inside the 5. It is 1st and goal. Both teams have talked about being efficient in this area. James, can he pay it off? Yes, sir. Touchdown, Oregon. Oh, and a box snap. Looking to get away. Toss it, picked off. Ransom looking to take it the other way. Down the sideline. Ransom with blocking. Can he get there? No. Chaos. James stays in there. Play action pass. Gabriel throws. Middle. Open. Storch got it. Big gain deep in Ohio State territory. 7 on the season. And he's 2 for 2 from between 40 and 49. Not this one.
wide right.
Defensively and capitalized that time by Ohio State.
By the hot hand. Henderson, he's a home run hitter. Travion Henderson, one man to beat, out of bounds. First and goal, he goes 55 down the sideline. The field including Gerd. Handed, Judkins. Jamming his way in, touchdown, Ohio State. Play action pass, Gabriel in the pocket. That's a deep ball down the sideline. Stewart takes the top off. Dragging his way down the field. Burke couldn't bring him down. Second and goal, Gabriel. Fires, Gabriel. On target. Touchdown, Evan Stewart. Another funky formation, they will run it. And squeeze it through. It's going to be short. Tricky with this. And they will. Oh, wow. Off of the Ohio State player. And Oregon gets right on top of it. Did they get there first?
It hit the Ohio State.
And they have it.
Yeah.
Gabriel may have been tipped. Didn't matter as it's caught by Stewart out of James, the holder this time. And he drills it. Howard, wide open, Scott, down inside the 40. Rushing touchdowns tonight to pad the stats. Under 4 to play in this first half. It's Howard, looking sideline. Open, Abuka, touchdown! Perfectly delivered. And Johnson in motion. Second and 4, James, powerful runner. First down. Miscommunication from Ohio State defensively. Gabriel looking to take advantage with a deep ball. Again, separation. Johnson in the bucket. Touchdown. 48 yards. Chabola's back in there at right guard, which is a good sign for this Ohio State offensive line. Howard on play action. Feeling the pressure. Hit as he throws. Oh, Jeremiah Smith dragging it the entire way. Abuka in motion on second and goal. Howard steps up. Howard. It's caught. Jeremiah Smith. Touchdown, Ohio State. Johnson in motion on fourth down. They will run it. Gabriel surveys. Gabriel throws and hits the back of Cody Simon. Incomplete. Ohio State with a red zone stop. A 3rd and 3. Howard, trouble with the snap. He just has to jump on it. Oregon gets a gift. I'll tell you what, Autzen Stadium, in terms of environment, has delivered. The fans have done their part, and now Jordan James looking to do the same. Brings it to the 35. Now Ferguson will split out wide from the tight end spot. Gabriel keeps plenty of space, and he's still going. Gabriel makes a move. He's gone. 27 yards. Touchdown, Ducks. By action, Smith. That was put right in the spot for Smith for the career-long 47. And this one from Fielding is perfect.
Terrell Canoe, number 93, so these are all big bodies inside.
Whittington wiggles through to the 1. Snap it. And Sappington puts Oregon in front.
So this was it. The Buckeyes were driving with a chance to win the game if they could get in field goal range and stop the clock. Barring a complete collapse, of course.
They're on first down. Howard. Down he goes. Uiagalelei was in his face, and Howard loses major yardage with the clock still rolling. 100 yards now for Jeremiah Smith. Howard on second down. It's Abuka in the bucket. Inside the 30.
Down here at the bottom for Jeremiah Smith.
3rd and 20. Howard, a lot of time coming off. Howard's going to run for it. Time runs out, and that'll do it.
Oh my goodness.
On the final play, quarterback Will Howard lost track of time, scrambling with the ball and running out the remaining clock, ending his team's perfect season. It's also worth mentioning that late in this game, Oregon coach Dan Lanning took advantage of college football's substitution rules in a way that ended up benefiting them and ultimately putting Ohio State in the situation they were in with the clock. This sparked major controversy and led to an almost immediate rule change. All that said, this game perfectly encompassed what this season was all about, full of chaos and impacts that would leave a ripple effect across the rest of the season. But with how well both of these teams played, there was no doubt in anyone's mind that we may have just witnessed a preview of the college football playoff or even the national championship after all.
Put the hammer down on the straightaways. Precision handling around hairpin turns. Agility navigates Austin's F1 course and keeps the drumbeat of the Longhorns march to glory going. With twists and turns await for Texas. The eyes of Texas are upon a massive weekend. Worldwide attention on Formula One. Intense focus on this SEC showdown. The Horns are up and face some dogs with a hint of desperation. Georgia's already found a road hazard, and more tests abound across the country, from Knoxville to Louisville to Bloomington. But pole position is decided right here on the 40 acres, the Lone Star State, where Texas is back. But those hairy dogs are going to hunker down, and they ain't going anywhere.
I can't allow that to happen with all these South Carolina. I was picking South Carolina all along, but everybody got South Carolina. Whenever in college football, everybody thinks one thing. The opposite happens. I got Oklahoma.
Just say it.
Just say it.
I think Jack Taylor's going to be the difference. Michigan's offense has been very one-dimensional because they didn't have a quarterback who could really air it out and throw the ball. I thought the offense showed some progress 2 weeks ago when Jack entered the game, so I'm going with Michigan.
I'll retweet what Coach Saban just said. Give me Colorado.
I know this is going to be a tough game. Tennessee's a tough place to play, but I got to go Bama.
The difference in this game will be Texas specialty. Remember his name now. Remember these names. Bolden, Golden, and Auburn. Those are Texas specialists. Will help them win. Go Longhorns.
The AP poll has been something I've paid very close attention to all video. The main reason for that is that it perfectly highlights the ever-changing landscape of college football. By week 8, the 2024 effect, so to speak, had done its share of damage to these rankings. As a reminder, here's how the first AP poll looked that came out ahead of week 0. And here's what it looked like by week 8. At a closer level, let's take a look at the changes from just weeks 7 to 8. LSU had entered the top 10, moving up to number 8 after its win over Ole Miss. Iowa State, BYU, Indiana, and Pittsburgh all continued their climbs as they were still undefeated to the surprise of many. Ole Miss fell a whopping 9 spots after losing to LSU, now sitting at number 18, meaning it'd miss a playoff spot if the season ended today. Utah and Oklahoma also suffered major drops. Their respective losses to Arizona State and Texas knocked them out of the top 25 entirely. But the craziest thing about the new rankings could be found at the bottom. Both Army and Navy were still undefeated and had now entered the rankings. For years, these two teams had not put the greatest product out onto the field, as Army had only appeared in the top 25 5 times since the turn of the century, and while Navy had far more appearances with 18, the highest they'd made it in that time was number 16 back in 2015. But to have both of these historic service academies in the top 25 simultaneously was something entirely more rare, as it hadn't happened since the 1960 season. The AP poll is also important because it gives us context for why certain games are so impactful. Two important things that had made the 2024 season so incredible to this point were A, the skill gap between the ranked and unranked teams being very slim, which I mentioned earlier, and B, just the sheer amount of ranked versus ranked matchups that were falling into our laps as fans. With the schedules obviously being created before the season actually starts, it's up to complete chance outside of the first week if any two given teams will be ranked at the time they play. And 2024, in all its chaos, just kept the stars aligned for major ranked opponents to meet every single week. For week 8, it was no different. The main matchup everyone was talking about was between Quinn Ewers and the number 1 Texas Longhorns and Carson Beck and the number 5 Georgia Bulldogs. The Longhorns were at home, which was a good sign for their hopes of an undefeated season. But Georgia came into this game still feeling the sting of its loss to Alabama and looking to prove that it was a real contender after all.
The play clock. You fake it to Etienne and back over the middle, and it's intercepted. Andrew Makuba went up high, and again, Beck throws it to the wrong team early in the game. Pressure comes, it's picked up. Pitch to the near side, and it's incomplete. Here, Texas brings pressure. Now they rush for ball out quickly, and it's juggled and intercepted. Jadae Barron got it. It hit the hands of Lawson Lucky, and a second turnover here. Once again for their first third down conversion of the night. And he smashed. Ewers is pounded. The ball comes out, still rolling around, still up for grabs. And it looks like Georgia has recovered at the 12. Etienne on the toss. Gets into the end zone. Old school Georgia football. Trevor says, quiet down, crowd. Meanwhile, Texas faces a 3rd and 7. Ewers from the end zone, still trying to buy time, stumbles forward and takes a sack. Jalen Walker, the elite pass rusher, got there. And a touchdown, of course, a field goal attempt here. Beck, this time he is pressured. It's picked up underneath. And the catch is made by Arian Smith. The end of the half against Mississippi State. This from 33. And he does get it inside that right upright. They rush for Ewers. Intercepted. He threw it right to Dalen Everett, who's had a monster first half. Take it to Etienne. Another throw to the edge. Cutting free. Love it. Love it. Knifes down into the red zone, and the Dogs are threatening again. Smith and Lovett off to the left on first down. Etienne. Trevor Etienne barrels down, dives for the end zone. Touchdown, Georgia. 80 yards, not just to Alabama, but also Mississippi State. All-out blitz. Yours cannot escape. They've got him again. Jalen Walker to make it 20-0. And he knocks it right through. Dogs moving around pre-snap. They're going to bring pressure. This time it's picked up. Manning down the middle. Incomplete. Etienne. No, he's not going to get there.
The yardage he would have picked up if he got around it.
2nd and 21. Manning from the pocket. Ball comes loose. It's scooped up by Walker. All 3 phases for Georgia solid. Inside Georgia 40. Fake it to Wisner. Ewers across the middle, and the catch is made by Matthew Golden, and he's down to the 15. He's been held in check tonight. They look to him this time, and Isaiah Bond will score, and Texas is on the board. Let's go for Dos, brought to you by Dos Equis. And into the end zone, it's caught, so Bond gets a touchdown, adds the 2-pointer, 12. Back. Pocket collapses around him. He throws another ball into traffic. It's broken up by Michael. To communication to yours. From the pocket, slant, and it's incomplete. Very, very eager to get the football back. Brings some pressure against Beck, who stands and delivers on the sideline. It's intercepted. Picked up by Barron. Cuts back. Jadae Barron still alive. Dragged down to the
offensive.
Number 7. Ball be placed at the spot or foul with an automatic first down.
They're showing the replay.
The top of the route, you tell me. There's contact both ways.
Oh, no, come on. Really?
All right, here's what I got. Hold. The defender has a right to get in front of him. I don't see him holding him. I see the offensive player as much attacking him.
Both guys looking at the football. The entire...
Yeah, the students are now raining bottles down. And this is unfortunate. This is going to delay the game. That's the student section down there in the corner. They're not going to win the Taco Bell contest at this rate.
No.
Somebody did it early, and then there was just a whole bunch of copycats.
Sark's all the way over the 10-yard line, telling them to chill out.
Doing a good job getting a whole bunch of folks involved in cleaning up the end zone.
Leave it alone, move on with the game.
There was no defensive pass interference.
Oh, my goodness.
The ball will be on the 9-yard line.
Kirby cannot believe it. So Bill Lamagna, a discussion. They have changed their call, which is an enormous moment in this game.
Yeah.
Are you surprised they changed it, Bill?
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'd like to know what how it came about, who stepped up, who came in to talk about it.
Viewers.
Cross the middle, caught, touchdown, Texas. Jaden Blue.
Final minute of the quarter now. Jones reverse. This is Lovett coming around. Back to the quarterback. Flea flicker. Oscar Delp, the tight end, is rambling free. What a two-play sequence. Down. Big moment. Play clock at 3. And touchdown. ETN barrels forward. And now does have the hat trick of rushing touchdowns. And rush comes. Ewers, desperation fling, fitting ending to this ball game.
The number 1 team had fallen once again, and with Texas now feeling the effects of this top-ranked curse, there was truly no more telling who was safe or any clarity on who the best team in the nation was. 2 more ranked teams suffered defeat in Week 8, as number 24 Michigan fell at the hands of number 22 Illinois, and number 7 Alabama suffered its second loss within 3 weeks of being ranked as the top team in the country, this time falling to number 11 Tennessee. There were almost more ranked losses than that though, as several ranked teams had some very close calls against unranked opponents. On Friday night, undefeated number 13 BYU was pushed to its limit by Oklahoma State, who despite being ranked in the initial AP poll, was 3-3 heading into this game and clearly not a team the Cougars should have struggled against. Next, unbeaten number 6 Miami barely hung on by a touchdown against Louisville in an offensive display for the ages. Undefeated Iowa State, who was ranked at number 9, barely outlasted 3-3 conference opponent UCF by a field goal at home. 19th ranked Missouri also continued to show cracks in its armor, struggling against unranked Auburn and needing a 15-point fourth quarter to win by just 4 points. Looking outside the top 25, there were still a few important developing storylines we should take a look at. Kennesaw State was still winless after a strange matchup against Middle Tennessee. In a Tuesday night game, the Owls scored a safety in the first quarter and then didn't score again until the fourth, where they kicked a field goal to trim the final deficit to 14-5. Florida State was getting comical at this point, as it suffered another loss, this time to Duke. The Seminoles now sat at a dismal 1-6. Oklahoma, despite having been ranked just a week ago, got killed at home by South Carolina, having now lost its last 2 games by a combined 57 points. Kansas got back in the win column with a huge victory over Houston. This game showed the type of team the Jayhawks were capable of being and why they'd been projected to outperform what they'd done so far. Washington State was also off to an impressive start behind breakout star quarterback John Mateer. The Cougars continued that hot start by dominating Hawaii by a score of 42-10. Northern Illinois' win over Notre Dame kept becoming more puzzling as the Huskies dropped another game, this time to Toledo. This loss dropped their record to 4-3. 2 teams from the Big 12 that were looking like they could make a push at the top 25 soon were Colorado and Texas Tech, and while CU handled business against a tough Arizona team, Texas Tech surprisingly suffered a loss at home to Baylor, giving up 59 points in the process. And finally, it seemed the AP's choice to unrank Utah was a wise one, as the Utes lost once again in one of the sloppier games of the season, finishing the nightcap with a 13-7 loss to TCU.
The Indiana bus and bandwagon is picking up speed as it roars through the Big Ten. Now, typically, Hoosier hearts just long for basketball, home to the last perfect team. Motion offense, picket fence, every bounce off a barn side rim or dribble in the dirt oozes Indiana's hardwood DNA. So to turn hoops hysteria into football frenzy takes a dynamic leader, and the Hoosiers have found him. Kurt Signetti, in his first season, has undefeated Indiana, believing in the impossible. Big Ten title, playoff berth, winning. It all seems so new, but it's happened before. They've had energy like this. Once upon a time, Indiana awaited the debut of a charismatic new head coach. Anticipation built to start the 1973 season, but the Hoosiers weren't at the stadium, nowhere to be found. Would they not show up? Would they be a no-show? Oh, not so fast, my friend. Lee Corso, run him on a double-decker bus. They came screaming into the stadium, and a legend started. And sweetheart, LC and his players back home again in Indiana.
I married in to a Hoosier family. My father-in-law passed away a couple months ago. He lived for the Indiana Hoosiers. He was a sports fanatic, a football guy, and tonight he's up in heaven, sparking one up, hammering a cold beer because he's incredibly proud of the hoo. I love this state.
Coach Lee Corso has been known as the face of college football for almost 40 years now. Therefore, I, Carrie Thompson, the mayor of the city of Bloomington, do hereby proclaim Coach Lee Corso Day in Bloomington, Indiana.
How about that? LC surrounded by his players.
I want to thank you very much for coming and being here, and thank you, Mayor. I appreciate it very, very much.
Awesome morning. Congratulations, guys. Enjoy the celebration. Guest speaker is Kyle Schwarber, World Series champion, two-time All-Star, and used to drop bombs around here for Indiana. Hey, how about you see that edit right there? Philly swing, Indiana swing.
Yeah, that was nice.
That was sweet. And look, he's ready to go. Here now, you're full uni almost.
Yeah, I'm ready to rock. This is going to be special. Yeah, I'm going to Sam. I'm going Navy. I'm going Navy to take Notre Dame. We're going to get this rivalry back.
Yeah.
And these guys are going to make this spicy and get this thing back going. So, Navy over Notre Dame.
Not so fast.
I think Coach Harbaugh once said after a loss, like, somebody has to pay for what just happened.
Yeah.
I feel like Sark and Texas are going to rally after what happened. Big letdown. I think Vandy's on the receiving end of it. Give me Texas.
I think LSU just got momentum. I think both coaches have done a great job improving their team, but I think LSU's got the momentum right now. I'm taking LSU.
Obviously, who I'm picking. Obvious. I don't want anyone to forget. Don't forget. Indiana, beat Purdue. Beat Purdue.
The new number one in town after Texas's loss was the undefeated Oregon Ducks. This isn't something I think most fans expected to see when they were struggling against Idaho in the first game of the season. Georgia had climbed back up to number 2 after beating Texas, and the debate between which of the two teams was better at the top of the rankings was hotly contested. Alabama was on quite the fall from grace, as it had now gone from that number 1 spot to just 15th in the country, with another loss likely knocking the Tide out entirely. The only team to fall out of the rankings this week was the reigning national champion Michigan Wolverines. Despite their loss in Week 8 being against a ranked opponent, it was now their 3rd loss of the year, and at this point, 3 lost teams just couldn't survive in the rankings. Taking their place was the Vanderbilt Commodores, who were another of the many teams in these rankings on a miracle run. They'd strung together 2 more wins since beating Bama, and were now tasked with taking on the Texas Longhorns. But before we get to that game, we'll take a brief look at our midweek action. The notable scores from ranked teams were number 19 Pittsburgh continuing to shock the world as it put together a dominant win over Syracuse, who to that point still seemed pretty solid. The Panthers even forced star quarterback Kyle McCord to throw 5 interceptions in that game, and they were making a case as a playoff team down the stretch. Next, 17th ranked Boise State got tested against UNLV, but still took care of business behind 128 rushing yards from Ashton Genty. Genty was firmly making his Heisman case by this point. The man was yet to have a game under 125 rushing yards, with 3 200-plus yard performances by the conclusion of Week 9. While he would be the clear standalone favorite in most seasons, we've already established that 2024 is simply different, and there was one other guy like we'd never seen before still in the race. But we'll get back to him later. 2 formerly ranked teams in Louisville and Boston College also put on quite the show that Friday night, with the Cardinals coming out on top behind a 120-yard night from star receiver Ja'Cory Brooks. But there's one more game I need to mention before we get to the Saturday slate, and that game is Liberty versus Kennesaw State. Let's set the stage. This game was on a Wednesday night and didn't really have many eyes on it. After all, Liberty was undefeated and making a push for the top 25 and college football playoff, and Kennesaw State was yet to win a game and looked awful in each one they'd played. But 2024's magic showed no bounds, and we were all treated to the absolute unexpected on that random Wednesday night in late October.
There the last 2 seasons, one of the best in the country for the Flames. And Salter on 3rd down to the end zone, touchdown. Sibley got it. Play of the night for the Owls, a team that's last in scoring offense in FBS, averaging just 13 points per game. But they look like a machine right now. That's going to go to the house. Touchdown, Owls. First and goal for the Owls, coming in, only scored 5 offensive touchdowns in their first 6 games. And they've got a second tonight. Benefield bangs it in. Try to find their first FBS win tonight. Salter on 3rd down, looking end zone. Got a man, touchdown. Dante Lee sneaking behind a couple of defenders and gets 6. Ashley, success, touchdown up the gut for the Owls, who retake the lead. Bryce Robinson to snap. The hold from Jacob Ulrich, and the boot is good.
Had a lateral in a bunch, but let's see what happens.
Here it is. Salter throws it in the flat and let the games begin. Flip down, tackle down, ball on the turf, ball blown dead. Celebration part 2 for win number 1 for Kennesaw State at the FBS level.
Despite this being a matchup between 2 unranked teams, this may have been the biggest upset of the year. As I mentioned, Liberty were college football playoff hopefuls, but being in the Conference USA, they'd likely need to go undefeated and win their conference to get there. But just like that, Kennesaw State, who didn't seem anywhere near fit to be at the FBS level yet, had just dashed those hopes in the blink of an eye. ESPN gave Liberty an 87.3% win probability after just the opening kickoff, and even though the Owls' offense wasn't anything too special, their defense showed up when they needed to and stifled one of the best offenses in the group of 5. Anyway, on to the Saturday slate. This week was actually pretty upset-free, with number 14 Texas A&M's win over 8th-ranked LSU being the only one within the top 25. But this was once again inches away from being one of the most historic upset weeks in college football history. Ranked teams that snuck by this week included number 4 Ohio State, number 5 Texas, number 16 Kansas State, and number 22 SMU, winning their games against ranked opponents by an average of 2.5 points. Not all ranked teams struggled though. Oregon being at number 1 seemed to be the right choice, as they blew out the 20th ranked Illinois Fighting Illini by a score of 38-9. Number 12 Notre Dame also ended 24th ranked Navy's miracle undefeated season, and number 15 Alabama sent 21st ranked Missouri packing from the top 25 with a 34-point shutout. Outside the top 25, Virginia Tech continued picking up some steam, as it picked up an impressive win over a tough Georgia Tech team. Additionally, UConn was back to its winning ways, defeating Rice to move to 5-3. Northern Illinois lost again. Like, seriously, how did Notre Dame lose to this team at home? The wheels also continued to fall off for Utah, as it lost once again, this time to 2-5 Houston. Michigan got back in the win column, but not by much. The Wolverines squeaked by an unimpressive Michigan State team by just a touchdown, so this likely wasn't going to get them ranked again. Colorado picked up another win, this time over Cincinnati. And on that note, let me introduce you to Ashton Genty's competition in the Heisman race. Travis Hunter. Playing both cornerback and wide receiver full-time for the Colorado Buffaloes, Hunter had already recorded 757 receiving yards, 8 touchdowns, 20 total tackles, and 2 interceptions, including one of the greatest touchdown catches of all time and a 153-yard 2-touchdown performance in this game against the Bearcats. The man was doing things we had never seen done before while playing an average of 124 snaps a game according to True Media Sports. This became one of the closest Heisman races of all time, and you can't blame the Heisman voters for that either. How do you pick between one of the best rushing seasons ever seen in college football and a historic season from a player performing at an elite level on both sides of the football? In a race that usually revolves around quarterbacks, two non-quarterbacks were putting together one of the tightest battles in the sport's history. Down the stretch of the year, all eyes would be on them, but the result was still far from decided.
Wilson throws it up the sideline. Intercepted. Hunter. He's got a block. Travis Hunter. Into Utah territory. What a play for Colorado. Oski.
Well, you're going to give Colton Hood the assist here because he's the one that makes the play. So Wilson gets a little pressure and just kind of throws it up to the corner. That's why it's short, but Hood is out of phase and has to react to get back to the catch area, and he knocks the ball away from the wide receiver, and then you've got the Oski drill. Tip, tip, Travis Hunter is ready, and he's giving everybody the Heisman.
Genty and Tyler Crow in at running back. Here's Genty following his blockers, keeping his feet, and in for his fourth touchdown of the game.
Through Thornton here. T. Crow's going to try to lead through with a block. It's a little piece of Moku, but look at that. And then, a little Heisman. Yeah, why